Too close to the edge. A lot of men today like to live on the edge. Tired of routine and bored with a seat-belted culture, they seek out the daring, the daunting, and the dangerous. Lot would have felt right at home with the guys like this, but when he applied this attitude to his spiritual life, he paid a tremendous price. Lot grew up in the care of his grandfather Terah after his father died. When Terah moved his family to Haran, Lot went along, and when Abraham and Sarah left for the promised land, Lot accompanied them. Genesis chapter 11, verse 28, verse 31, chapter 12, verse 4. Both Lot and Abraham prospered along the way, and soon Abraham had to say to his nephew in essence, "Boy, this town ain't big enough for the both of us. Which way do you want to go?" Genesis chapter 13, verse 8 through 9. Lot looked over his options, then took his livestock in the direction of a town named Sodom. Yes, that's Sodom, as in Sodom and Gomorrah. We notice a sad progression in Lot's fascination with living on the edge. At first, he lives in tents outside the city. Then he owns a house inside the city walls. And before we know it, we see him sitting at the entrance to the city. Genesis chapter 19, verse 1. An indication of Lot's importance and high status in the community. Lot seems to have embraced Sodom's evil culture, even though the people of this area were extremely wicked and constantly sinned against the Lord. Genesis chapter 13, verse 13. Eventually, God decided to put an end to Sodom. He sent two angels to drag Lot and his family out of the doomed city. Lot tried to warn his two future sons-in-laws of their peril, but they laughed at him and assumed he was joking. As 0 hour approached, Lot hesitated and tried to delay his departure. Finally, the angels literally grabbed his wrist and forced him to leave, along with his wife and two daughters. And even when the angels told him to flee the mountains, Lot tried to negotiate a better deal. "I cannot go to the mountains. Disaster would catch up to me there. See, there is a small village nearby. Please let me go there instead." Genesis chapter 19, verse 19 and verse 20. During their flight, Lot's wife disobeyed the angel's instructions and looked back at the home they were leaving. Her refusal to let go of her life in a sinful Sodom was instantly and severely punished as God turned her into a pillar of salt. Genesis chapter 19, verse 26. Soon after Sodom and Gomorrah went up in smoke, Lot took his two daughters to live in a cave. Shortly after there, the girls decided to carry on their family line, but with no other men around, they faithlessly chose to get Lot drunk and into bed with each of them. You didn't think the Bible would mention incest? The girls gave birth to illegitimate sons who founded two nations, Moab and Ammon, which would ultimately harass Israel for centuries to come. That's what can happen when you live too fast and too dangerously. And keep in mind that Lot was a believer. Peter calls him a righteous man who was sick of the shameful immorality of the wicked people around him. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 7. Even a man like Lot can be seduced by the flash and excitement of living on the edge, but beware, the drop-off may lie closer than you think. The point, when you live close to the edge, you are only a pebble away from falling.